My brother was in the army too. He was stationed in Alaska, the opposite ends of the world, right? So we're talking and he said, oh yeah, I have to tell you something. I'm like, yeah, well, what is it? He's like, I'm Muslim. And I can still hear it the way he said it. And I'm quiet and I'm like, I'm in disbelief. And then I just start crying. I am sad. So I said, all right, I'm going to see what this Islam is about. Because I know my Bible. So I'm going to study this Islam. And I'm going to use it to bring him back. My name is Jacob Marino. I live in Yonkers, but I will have to add I was born and raised in the Bronx. But yeah, I'm a 15-year resident of Yonkers now. I always believed in God. I was a Christian Bible thumper. I remember my mom telling me about heaven and about, one day she's not going to be here, but we'll be reunited in heaven. And that always stuck with me. Even as remember, 4 or 5 years old, and I still remember it to this day. And then when I was around 9 or 10, my father really put me into it. Church was everything for us. Every Sunday in church, I practically lived in church. I learned the Bible very well, and I woke up, I went to sleep, and I dreamed everything about God and Jesus as a Christian. God was always in my mind, in my heart. My brother had a Muslim friend. There were Muslims, in my school, in junior high school and high school. As a Christian, I used to say, that's just a desert religion. I graduated from high school. My family is a big military family, so it was inevitable that I was joining. My brother joined, my cousin joined, my father was in the military, my uncle was in the military, everybody's in the military. So I joined the military too. And so when I was stationed in Korea, and subhanAllah, it's amazing that now that I think about this, my roommate was Muslim and he had the Bible open. And I was like, you're a Muslim, why do you have the Bible? And he was like, oh, he started talking to me, all contradictions and this and that. And I used to be, I had the veil over my eyes. I'm a Bible thumper, man. I'm like, nah, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's my roommate, we're in the army. My brother was in the army too. He was stationed in Alaska, the opposite ends of the world, right? But subhanAllah, every week we would call each other. We grew up with each other. We had a big family that, because of some circumstances, we were split up, but him and I always were together. And so one day, one conversation, it was a Friday, I remember. So we're talking and he said, oh yeah, I have to tell you something. I'm like, yeah, well, what is it? He's like, I'm Muslim. And I can still hear it the way he said it. And I'm quiet and I'm like, I'm in disbelief. And then I just start crying. And I'm crying. And these are not tears of joy, brother. I am sad. I am thinking, how can he betray us like this? How can he do something like that? He told me, this is, I found Islam and this is what I want to do. So we hang up the phone there. And, I'm questioning everything, how we grew up. And for him to be a Muslim now, it was just so shocking to me. And my roommate's Muslim too. So I said, all right, I'm going to see what this Islam is about. Because I know my Bible. So I'm going to study this Islam. And I'm going to use it to bring him back. That's my plan. When I first arrived there, I'm thinking I'm only going to be there for maybe 2 months. After 2 months, they told me, no, we're here a year. My heart went from here to the ground. I told myself I'm not going to survive. It was hard enough, brother, to make it to those 2 months. Because every day I'm thinking, when I wake up, today's going to be my day. It's my last day on earth. And it's calming me down, all right? So it's calming me down. I'm in total safety and I'm good. And so it's like a refresher for me. I'm good. And so I do that every day. I come home and I came home a different man. I lost family members because I pushed them away. I didn't want to do with anyone. I wanted to be by myself. I'm a loner. My friends who used to call me the priest, because again, I never cursed, anything like that. I came back like a drunken sailor, so to speak. I go into my car and I just, close my eyes and I listen to it. And that would, again, that's my reset. That calms me down. During my little studies, I met a Yemeni brother in one of the bodegas in New York City. He gave me a Quran. And from the day he gave me the Quran, I've been to all over the world. And when you travel, you lose things here and there, but I always had that Quran with me. So 20 years after I came back from Iraq, I'm in my house. I looked at that Quran, a lot of dust on it. I took it out. There's dust everywhere. I said, you know what? I'm going to read this. I'm going to read it. And so I read it, Surah Al-Fatiha, all the way to chapter 114. And so when I finished the Quran, this was maybe like 2 or 3 days before Christmas. I got in my car, my wife, I dropped her off at work. She works in Manhattan. There's a masjid in Manhattan. There's a big masjid. I told myself, if there's a parking spot there, because in New York City, there's no parking anywhere. I said, if there's a parking spot near that masjid, then I'm going to park and I go in. If not, I'm going home. As soon as I get there, subhanAllah, a parking spot right across the street. I park in, I go into the masjid. I want to talk about Islam. The Imam's on his way. The Imam gets there. And I tell him, yes, I read the Quran and, I think I want to go toward Islam. The Imam was like, okay, you know what, take your time, learn more, and then when we come back, you can take your shahada. I said, no, I'm ready now. I want to take my shahada. So he said, okay. So I took my shahada. I met my brother soon. It was 1998, I remember. He became Muslim. And so he was so happy. Put it in, I press play. When I press play, it said, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahmani Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin. It was Al-Fatiha. It was Al-Fatiha that I listened to every day in Iraq.